Yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. All right, okay, all right. I guess we'll do the damn thing. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm actually playing this too. I know it sounds produced. I'm playing this and all the instruments as well. Don't act like you're not impressed. Saw tons of Warhammer cosplay at DragonCon this weekend. Hell yeah. No, I think there's a growing scene of Warhammer cosplayers. I actually noticed recently all the Space Marine cosplay that people are doing, and they're like, make it so that you can actually like move in that shit, which is pretty crazy. So, you know, I was joking because I saw there's an Adeptus Custodes. Maybe I'll even bring it up. Should I show you guys? There was an Adeptus Custodes, John, that's literally like $3,000 or something like that, but it's just like a full ass Custodes gear, gold, and it's all like foam, so you can like move around in it. I was like, dude, come on, just for all the streams, I could wear it every stream. You know? Hell yeah. CJ, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now. King Khan says, didn't you wear that absolutely incredible shirt last stream? Where did you get it? It's an official Warhammer licensed merch, and thank you, sir. And I don't remember if I wore it last time because I was out of town and had an incredible weekend with the homies. But thank you for the compliment. Appreciate it, as always. So good. Did you guys have a good weekend? How was everybody's weekend, man? We do have some we're gonna get into some crazy stuff, man. I think I'm going to blow your mind today, and I've never said that before, so you know it's gonna be real good. Seriously, I have some pretty cool shit that I've been thinking about, and I have two things today that I think are actually pretty mind-blowing that I want to talk about. Some of it has to do with Doomsday and what was shown over the weekend at D23, except it's not really D23, it's like Destination D23 or some shit, but it is actually kind of cool what was shown, and there's already people like making theories based on just what they showed and stuff like that, so we'll get into that. That's going to be exciting. We'll talk a little bit about Star Wars. We'll talk a little bit about Star Wars. And then the main topic today, of course, is about the Rogers family. Which, now that I'm thinking of it, it's like kind of wild, right? Mr. Rogers, he's Mr. Rogers. Kind of wild. Anyway, we're going to talk about the Rogers because there's a crazy leak, which did not come from the scoopers, by the way. I want to be clear about this. This actually came from set photos on the set of Doomsday. The scoopers kind of soft confirmed it. Almost tried to act like they scooped it or whatever, but they did not scoop it. Maybe they had it and they didn't say anything, but the info was revealed by people that saw stuff on the fucking set. So we're going to talk about it, and holy shit, there's a lot of implications here. Did you know, chat, that Iron Man was not the only Marvel movie that Kevin Feige was an executive producer on in the year of our Lord 2008? Oh, don't worry, we're gonna get into it. Papa Josh is on the case. But let's ease into it, you know what I mean? Let's chill for a little bit here. And actually, I gotta put on more air conditioning in here because it's a little hot in here. Any freaking way, man. Yeah, how are you guys doing? Aaron Rodgers, what about him? Did they play? Is he doing good? I was in Pittsburgh over the weekend, right? Asked some people about it, and people seem pretty like whatever about it. Like, I did not find a lot of people that were excited. Not a lot of people that were mad. They were just kind of like, eh. So, we'll see. Man, we going to deep into Tony and Steve again, God willing. Down the deep, dark hole, Funky Sam, you know what I'm saying? Go down that hole. Yes, it's Monday. It is Monday, and it's Labor Day. Labor Day. So how many of you guys have off, man? I saw Chillin's in here, and he usually can't come into the streams. What up, Chillin? Hope you're doing well. How about them Buckeyes? We watched the end of that game. I was watching the end of that game with a 25-ounce Yingling. Bruh. Shit was good, man. Tasty. Nice and bubbly. We were like, stop. I was like, ah, man, like, I don't know if I want to start drinking this early. I think it was like 1, maybe 1:30. And my buddy orders a 25-ounce Yingling. And it's just like in this frosted glass. I couldn't say no. Couldn't say no. What's your favorite army? Warhammer for life? Right now, my favorite army is the Dark Angels. I love the Custodes. The Custodes are probably my favorite army if you're asking me about like the lore, although Dark Angels is really, really close. But right now, as far as gaming, I prefer to play the Dark Angels. I'm off because I quit my job. Oh no! I hope that's you all right there? You gonna be all right, Emo Joe? You gonna be all right, man? About to go eat a huge Japanese buffet to celebrate not working? Dude, that sounds incredible. What is at a Japanese buffet? What is the difference between a Chinese buffet and a Japanese buffet? I need educated on this. Because, like, I don't know, man. I'll be honest. My impression of Japanese food is that it's not that it's not that great. But ironically, there are some like Japanese artisan chefs that make American food in Japan. And apparently it's fucking phenomenal. Like, I've heard a lot of people talk about that. So, because you know me, I'm trying to get to Japan, man. I'd love to live in Japan someday, honestly. But isn't Japanese food only sushi? Chinese food and Japanese food. Wait, what? Does anybody explain? Is anybody explaining it? Brother, Japanese food is amazing. Yeah, but how so? Like, so the only thing I see with Japanese food, right, is I see those restaurants that has like all the wheat, like it's like a Chinese restaurant, all the numbers and the dishes and everything, but everything looks raw. And even like the beef or whatever looks like, you know what it looks like? It looks like uncooked steakums. If you guys know what steakums are. Y'all need culture. Hey, Eddie! It's good to see you, brother. Eddie in here. You know, I know you're talking shit, but it's still good to see you, man. How you been? You still playing New World? What's the next MMO for you, man? Japanese is hibachi. Yo, hibachi's slamming. I guess I just always assumed that that was not actually Japanese, though. Because, you know, fortune cookies are not Chinese. They're invented in America. Kobe beef is not raw. Looks raw. It looks a little raw to me. You don't like sushi? Not really, man. Not really. Like I just don't like raw fish. I can't get down. Like tempura, some of the stuff that they do, like garden roll or whatever, California roll, or whatever they call it. But the raw stuff, I just can't. Wagyu's good. Ramen, okay. Josh learned the fortune cookie thing from Iron Man 3. No, I learned that in a high school sociology class, actually, ironically. Like, I was trying to make a point about that. But, look, a lot of, like, ethnic food is actually kind of multicultural when you think about it. Because, like, for instance, tomatoes don't even grow natively on Italy. Tomatoes come from North America. But tomatoes became almost like... I mean, obviously, there's a lot of tomatoes in Italy now, but can you think of Italian food without tomatoes? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? I guess you can, but maybe a lot more bread and like cream sauces and stuff like that. But yeah. Yo, Josh, first time, not long time. You're the best in the business right now. Keep up the good work. Marvel strong. Hey, appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we're doing our thing over here, and I'm feeling real good. So we'll just keep doing it. See what happens. Lots of pesto. Pesto is slamming, though. Bro, one of my favorite pasta dishes is you get like a hand-cut fettuccine or like a really nice linguine. You get a pesto sauce, and then you get those candied sun-dried tomatoes, right? Sun-dried tomatoes, but they have a little, like they candy them. I don't know how they do it exactly. It's almost like pickling or whatever, right? But they're just like so good. And then little pearl mozzarella. You get a little pearl mozzarella. You throw some pearl mozzarella in there. And then, you know, pick your protein or whatever. I used to like it with chicken meatballs. and you put a little ricotta in the middle of the chicken meatball, and then you flash fry that so it's crispy on the outside and moist on the inside. Bro, one of those dishes, like, you gotta fucking take a minute afterwards. You gotta pause. You know what I mean? And just like, yo. Yeah. Could we see an Avengers versus X-Men movie in the Mutant Saga? Yeah, I think so. I think they'll probably play up that conflict. It would be wise for them to do that. There's a lot of comic book precedents and whatever for that. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. You're gonna make time making food. Do Mexican. Mexican's great. Mexican food is incredible, dude. I mean, I literally just had some Mexican. Yeah. Are the leaks actually real or more of a speculation on the Rogers family? There's some shit that's real, man. Like, we're talking about some people found some stuff on the actual set of Doomsday. Now, granted, that could be misinterpreted. It could be wrong. And I think I do believe there was something on the set that was misinterpreted within the past couple of months, but I can't remember what it is. So, like, you take it all with a grain of salt, but this is not like some rando being like, oh, this is a thing. And as I'm going to explain when we get into that segment, this is not the first time these rumors have popped up, man. I am excited to get into it because, of course, I'm just really fucking nerdy. And so I remember all of these different conversations I had with people and all the different rumors and things that could be happening. So, look, at the very least, I'll draw some conclusions and bring up something that you can chew on, you know, something that's interesting. And then, is it real? I guess we'll find out. I just make pizza rolls. Pizza rolls are good. Pizza rolls be good. Ramen in Japan is bomb. Udon is still my fave, though. What's the difference between udon and ramen? What's the diff, bro? What's the diff? Man, I got a knot in my back. I gotta go get a massage, man. I've been trying to, like, just lift through it and work out through it, and it's like, you ever have like just a really bad knot? Udon is thicker, and I think made from eggs. Oh, damn. The noodles is the difference? Okay, cool. So ramen's pretty, okay. Interesting. Ramen is tastier than udon, says Monkey Giraffe. All right, bud. Holy shit. Calm down, man. Had some legit ramen while in Palm City Beach. It was amazing. Nice. Man, are we all getting hungry? Are you guys doing anything for Labor Day? What even is Labor Day? What's the point of Labor Day? Like they give us all one day or something? I'm pretty sure I've worked almost every Labor Day of my fucking life. What is this holiday? How many of you have the day off? Why? Mustard and ketchup in a bowl? Slamming, bro. Recognizing unions to not do labor. Recognize the fact that the upper class works us to death. Oh, okay, interesting. Hey, Josh, just joined. Did you talk about the topic? I have not talked about no topics yet, Alex. You know me. I got to fucking yap for a little bit more. We're only 14 minutes into the stream. Labor Day, huh? Interesting. Coupons. I'm off every Monday. Nice, dude. To celebrate 1% of the people who have money for Labor Day. Holy shit. They said we will give you Labor Day because they didn't want to give us International Workers' Day because that's too socialist. Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting. Just entered. What did I miss? Oh, some riveting conversation. Worth watching on the replay, I would say. Could we see Marvel? Yes. Start over the aftermath of Sokovian Accords and the Mutant Saga? Maybe, man. There could be something to the Sokovia Accords. We'll see. We'll see. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Welcome, welcome. I'm kind of off every day. Yeah, you're a little off all the time, aren't you, Mike? That's okay. We love you, man. That's okay. We love you. And then the Carl's in here like, socialism failed. Oh, jeez. Here, we got to do that? You got to drag me into that? Carl? Man, there was something Carl said earlier today, and you know me, guys. I'll say some really wild, snarky shit. Have you ever noticed I clap back at people sometimes way too fucking hard? Something Carl said earlier, and I had one. I had a snarky one, and I was going to fire it off, and I was like, let it go. Is $500 a good deal on a full Warhammer army? Yeah, I mean, I would have to look at it, right? Because maybe it's IAS. But yeah, as long as it's not like terrible quality, 100%. 500 is pretty good. Do I hear politics? You shut your goddamn mouth, Cool Bear. Good to see you, though. I'm at the restaurant, so no Labor Day for me. Also, 49 months. Let's go. Nerd Avengers for life. Damn, 49 months is a long-ass time. Appreciate you, Jedi John. And I hope the day is not too bad for you. Bianca, what up? Rossi says, thanks for laboring us on Labor Day, LOL. I know. And Rossi, I know I sent you that. Rossi sent me this message. Should I just put you on full blast right now? I was this close to bringing Tom back to the community, okay? And then I find today, waiting for me, a message from Rossi, probably from Friday or Saturday or something. And he's like, oh, I actually know Tom. Tom lives in my town. Bring Tom back. And I was like, this makes me not want to bring Tom back. This makes me think Tom is more fucking trouble than he's worth. And then I told Rossi in the chat, I said, nah, fuck that guy. But I only said that so that Rossi would tell him I said that and break his heart. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that I just like to be a fucking wild card. You know what I mean? Space Marines and they tanks. I don't know how old. Space Marine tanks. Okay, so yeah, you might want to double check this, brother. I'm not saying it's still not a good deal. But for instance, if those are firstborn Marines, like way old diecast or like whatever they called that. I mean, look, just send me the link or send me the pictures on Discord. I'll check it out for you. Josh, I am here. I'm taking a huge dab just for you, buddy. Too much milk, XX says. Okay, bud. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I wonder how many sock puppet accounts are in here. How many Joshes? Ha 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 ha. Dude, yeah. Bro, you know what's funny? You guys are not going to believe this. I've never made a sock puppet account in my fucking life, man. And to be honest with you, like, I know it's probably more normal than I think. And maybe I'm just a grumpy old man or whatever. But, like, I feel like I got to be honest, okay? And this is going to sound a little fucked up, but it's Labor Day. Who cares? If you have sock puppet accounts, I don't think you should have the same rights as me. Like, I think you should lose some of your rights. Like, I'm pretty sure when the founding fathers were coming up with the Bill of Rights, if they would, like, it's hard to say because they probably wouldn't have known what that is, right? But if they did, I'm pretty sure there'd be a little article in there of like, yeah, about having these go away if you create an anonymous account on social media and shitpost. But, you know, I don't make the rules. Are you having fun yet? Josh's sock puppets are crusty. Hey, you don't say that. Okay, time for random ass Josh story number 311. Speaking of puppets, when I was a boy, there was an organization in town, some kind of like health organization thing, this, that, second, and the third. And they worked closely with a business that my mom was a part of. And my mom obviously had pictures of us, you know, the kids or whatever at her cubicle or whatnot. And this person that was coming up with this, it was basically like a campaign to like educate kids on safety and what you should do if you're playing alone and somebody gets hurt and that sort of stuff. And they asked if they could use our likeness for these puppets. And so there was dead ass. Not only is there a Josh puppet, which I'm going to go try to find it. I'll try to track down the video too, because there was a whole ass video that was done. It was like literally like, kids should be safe. Like, here's this fucking puppet show thing. Not only was I a puppet, but I was a very famous puppet, actually, you know? Like, you know, Kermit and Josh. Like, pretty close. Pretty close. So, there you go. Yeah, I gotta find that, man. I gotta find that. I'll look for it later today. Ben Franklin had a ton of pseudonyms, aka sock puppet accounts. Silence, Do Good. Anyone? Yeah, are you talking about that stupid almanac he made or whatever? Next. What do you think about the new Doomsday poster at D23? Oh, we're gonna talk about. What do you guys think about that poster? How about this? what do you guys think of the whole D23 thing in general? And I'll get the let me get the poster pulled up for y'all. Because the thing that's weird about the poster is, like, as far as I understand it, they, like, it's fan art, but they did give it to people or something, or they had it there. See if I can find this here. Avengers Doomsday. Oh, where's this poster, man? Poster. Or is this somebody just acting? Like, here's what I don't understand. Is this something that was actually at D23, or is this just some clever artist online that's like, hey, look at this, and then, like, made us think, oh, wow, we're a Josh Seption. Look at this. It's Josh Sepson. Hello, everybody. Look at how many of me's there are. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, let's get serious. Look at this. Is this real? I don't know if this is real. Give me 1 second. I'm going to put more air conditioning on. Like, is this real? I never said it was real. I just tagged D23 because it was trending. Okay, so it's bullshit, right? So, but this is where we're at as a society. Like, people are like this is where we're at. Whatever, man. Whatever. I think the poster's ass anyways. No offense to the guy's IG, but don't go follow him because this shit is ass. Sorry if you're watching. You shouldn't have fucking tagged D23. Anyway. Oh, somebody likes it? It's that guy's sock puppet account! That's why I'm so sick of these fucking sock puppets! Awful poster, and they should be ashamed. See? That's more like it. That's more like it over here. Looks awful? Yeah, it's butthole. Cheeks. Cheeks! Tom likes it. Who? Reed Richards' arms alone is the big sign of a horrible fake. Yeah, you're right. I was about to... You're right, though. You look at that and you're just like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. They're trying things out to see our reactions. Maybe. Maybe. Could be real. Remember the Loki series AI posters? No, I actually don't remember that. I don't remember what you're talking about there. Okay, enough about you guys. Let's talk about me. I had an incredible weekend. We were celebrating my buddy's birthday. And so me and one of my buddies in town drove down to Pittsburgh. And we had an incredible time, man. Really unique gaming store that we went to. I know a lot of you guys do gaming and like go in to play Magic or whatever. But so this was a big old building that used to be a municipal building. And it was repurposed for a gaming store. But like it was so, like it had so much room and had all these different places within it that had like a very unique function. So like one of the things that we saw was we saw a D&D group running a campaign, and they were literally in an interrogation room, like a big old interrogation room. So it's like kind of like soundproofed, and like they were, yeah, it's just like really, it was a cool spot, man. And so yeah, we just kind of did our thing, played some Warhammer. I won one game, lost one game. Then we went out for some drinks after that. But yeah, man, had a good ass weekend, you know. And if you were curious at all, I posted the army that I was playing on Twitter and on the Discord too. So check it out. It's a place near Pittsburgh. I think it's called. I keep calling it Chronopolis, but it's technically not called Chronopolis. I think it's called Conon, something like that. But it was really cool. Good time. Who cares, brother? Who cares? Hey, don't say that. Can you tell us about the Tyranids a bit? The Tyranids are like an ancient eldritch hive mind And there's something like bugs and lizards. They're kind of like bugs and dinosaurs combined. They're very, very interesting. They're essentially like amoral, like they don't really have any morality. They just fly around and consume biomass, and they kill everything on a planet and transform it into more of the Tyranid biomass. So yeah, they're cool. Yeah. They're pretty chill. I need actual dinosaurs in 40K. Dinosaurs are... So not only are dinosaurs in there, but there's currently a rumor that the dinosaur Eldar thing is going to come back in a big way. So they might end up being more in there than you think. Yes. The Tyranids are maybe one of the only races, maybe other than the Necrons, and I don't even think the Necrons have gone that far past the edges of the galaxy. So the Tyranids are probably from a different galaxy, or maybe in between galaxies or something like that. So yeah, they're really cool. They're very striking. Oh, there's a dino army in Sigmar. Interesting. Didn't know that. That's cool though, man. That's cool. All right, should we get into some of the shenanigans today, ladies and gentlemen? Actually, let me do a thing real quick. I gotta do a thing real quick here, and then we'll start getting into the shenanigans, man, because there's some really cool stuff going on out there in the world, man, in this nerdy world. Boom shakalaka. Okay, yeah, let's get into this. Let's get into this a bit. Okay, so over the weekend, people got to see fucking Avengers Doomsday, or at least that's what a lot of us thought at first. This kind of trended. Did you guys get caught up in it, man? I got caught up in it, and everybody was so mean to me. Because I was like, oh my God, people saw Avengers Doomsday. Because I saw other people saying that people saw Avengers Doomsday. And then, like, I was traveling, so I didn't get to check my phone. I looked down at my phone, and everybody's like, no, it's fake. You're so dumb. You're dumb. Nobody saw it or nothing. But Avengers Doomsday was at Destination D23. The Russo brothers did send a video in with Paul Rudd, and there were some things potentially revealed. So what exactly did happen? Well, let's go over this article on the Direct. And then I will try to make it make more sense to you after we read this. Official Avengers Doomsday teaser video features X-Men and Fantastic Four heroes. Disney showed a brief behind-the-scenes set video for Avengers Doomsday at Destination D23. Avengers Doomsday filmmakers were prepping fans for the Marvel's ultimate multiversal team-up, which will feature the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Wakandans, the New Avengers, and more from various Earths. The Direct was in attendance when Disney and Marvel Studios treated fans at Destination D23 to both a hype reel teaser and a short behind-the-scenes set video for Avengers Doomsday on the morning of Saturday, August 30th, 2025. Director Joe and Anthony Russo took a break from their Doomsday filming in London to say hello to fans with a video message. The message was interrupted by an exuberant Paul Rudd, who stressed the scale of the production and teased the roster that fans got a glimpse of in the teaser video shown during the presentation. The teaser was a rapid montage interspersed with video from the now infamous live-streamed Chaircast and footage of dialogue spotting Avengers Doomsday confirmed characters and actors from their appearance in previous Marvel movies. So to be clear, it's a montage of intercutting the chairs with like actual lines from all these characters from their other movies. Okay, so it says here the montage was served as a powerful reminder of the MCU's rich history and the diverse team of heroes in Doomsday's assembly. Began with Thor's rallying cry from Thor: Love and Thunder. We could pull together the greatest team ever, followed by Sam Wilson's Captain America line from Brave New World. If we can't see the good in each other, we've already lost the fight. Shuri's declaration, now is our time to strike. Transition to Ant-Man's memorable promise from Scott Lang in Venus' memoir was highlighted in Quantumania. Will I be there when the Avengers need me? Absolutely. Continue to build momentum with more inspired dialogue. Thunderbolt star Yelena said, we'll stick together from now on, adding a sense of familial loyalty. Joaquin Torres, Falcon expressed his readiness with that pressure, that responsibility. I want that too. Red Guardian added a touch of optimism. This has the makings of a team that can bring light from the darkness, and Loki provided a reflection touch from the titular Disney Plus series. Raising things to the ground is easy. Trying to fix what's broken is hard. Featuring elements of the broader Marvel universe, namely the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, the video included Professor X's warning from X2. There are forces in this world, both mutant and human alike, who believe a war is coming. Cyclops' dialogue from the 2000s X-Men assured protection. If anything happens, I'll take care of them. The Fantastic Four first steps, Mr. Fantastic affirmed their role as guardians. Today, we are the defenders. We will protect you. The sequence culminated with another empowering call from Shuri Yimbabe, evoking the spirit of Wakanda uniting and assemble to a visual symphony of past triumphs and future battles. The short package acted less as a plot reveal and more as a reminder that Marvel is assembling a massive multi-generational team for the Russos called their biggest movie. In their recorded appearance, the Russos spoke directly to fans about the production in London and the movie's ambition before Ant-Man himself wandered in. Paul Rudd, who has long been expected to make an MCU return, briefly blocked the camera, joking that he didn't have his contacts in, adding humor to the D23 presentation. Russo brothers Doomsday update from London. In their recorded appearance, Joe and Anthony Russo's work, whose epic plans for the MCU you can read more about here, greeted D23 fans directly from the London set, confirming the film's production was well underway. The filmmakers emphasized the scale of Avengers Doomsday, calling it larger than any other project they'd ever take on. Here's what they said. Hi, D23 members. This is Joe and Anthony Russo. Right now, we are in London shooting Marvel Studios' Avengers Doomsday. This movie is, to say the least, a big one for us. It is bigger than anything we have done. We are bringing together so many of your favorite heroes to face one of the greatest threats to the MCU. Paul Rudd shared an additional message focusing on the production scale and the cast involved. We're surrounded by jaw-dropping sets and some truly incredible talent, many of whom you just saw teased in that great video. Bringing this story to the big screen means the world to us, and we couldn't do it without your support. Okay, so that is essentially what was shown. And again, this did kind of make some waves. It's so funny, man. We live in this world where like everybody wants to hate on Marvel and say it's so fucking lame, and yet the reality is like this thing dominates the news cycle. Even this dominated the news cycle and was like a really big deal for people. So it's just funny to me. And so you do have them coming out there, which, by the way, Joe has lost some weight. Can we just say that? You know, from the time of him being on stage at SDCC to now, he has lost some weight. And that is either diet, exercise, Ozempic, or the absolute fucking stress and the bearing down pressure of this impossible fucking movie that they've been trying to make. But either way, it looks good. And it's also good to see Anthony. You know, there were a lot of rumors that Anthony had been gone from the set for many months, and people were like, where the fuck is Anthony? Like, did you remember those rumors? And nobody knew what was going on. He's probably shooting some other unit. Either way, this is cool, man. And it did excite people. I think the Sizzler reel, I mean, I wonder what you guys think of the Sizzler reel, man. For me, it's fine, but it also kind of speaks to a little bit of the problem with this film, and that is like, dude, all those other characters, like the whole first part of that before you get to the X-Men is not that cool. And I don't think people care that much, you know, just truly. I just don't care about a lot of those newer characters. And so it's a little bit weird that, like, that's what it is. And we'll see how that goes. But, of course, there's the promise of the X-Men. I think that's a brilliant move, bringing the X-Men in there. And Robert Downey Jr. as well. These are huge draws, right? But there's one more thing that people notice about this that's kind of interesting. And that would be that Paul Rudd is wearing the exact same outfit that he was wearing at the beginning and the end of Ant-Man Quantumania. And if you will recall, the ending of Ant-Man Quantumania is a really weird ending, okay? And it's after they escape and trap Kang forever in this place or whatever, and there's a couple of weird things that happen in this scene. Number one, a lot of the extras are seen multiple times in the shot, and it's just like weird. Nobody comments on it, but there's like extras that are seen multiple times. And you might be like, okay, well, they just shot that rather quickly. Yeah, that's true, but also Marvel's very careful with these kind of scenes, so it could mean something. The other thing that's weird about it is like he's having an inner dialogue about Kang and if he actually really won or whatever. And there's just something off about that scene where many people thought this was him either trapped in some kind of a time loop, or perhaps he came into a different reality or something like that. And so, you know, I remember when this thing was dropped, there were a lot of different theories about it. But I think the thing that you could probably take away from it the most is that, you know, he is wearing this. And Paul Rudd, funnily enough, 2 days before this presentation, Daniel scooped that Paul Rudd was going to be very important. Ant-Man was going to be very important to Kang Dynasty, which maybe we already knew, but he had said it, and then Paul Rudd comes out on stage. It's kind of interesting. So I think it probably does have something to do with that post-credit scene. And I do think there was something weird about that post-credit scene. I don't know what it is exactly, but there was something weird about it. What this probably points to is some kind of Kang the Conqueror thing. Okay? Some kind of Kang the Conqueror thing and dealing with Kang via the Ant-Man character. Because, of course, Paul Rudd and the Ant-Man character are one of the characters now that has had the most experience with Kang. You know, other than Loki, right? Like, this dude has had the most experience out of all the Avengers with Kang. He potentially knows about this threat of, like, infinite hymns coming and all sorts of stuff. So it kind of points to, oh, yeah, we're probably going to get some more Ant-Man Kang type stuff here. But here's another thing that's kind of wild, okay? So one of the things I can't get out of my mind, because I recently watched Endgame, and of course Paul Rudd's Ant-Man is an incredibly important part of Endgame also, and he escapes the quantum realm. The whole time travel thing is essentially created because of Ant-Man. And to be real with you, one of the things that always bothered me about Endgame, and I wonder if it bothered you, is the thing with the rat. So chat, if the rat in Endgame ever bothered you, throw a 1 into the chat. You know, we'll pull up the chat here and we'll see what you guys think. But did that ever bug you? The rat? The rat in Avengers Endgame? Maybe not. Maybe everybody was like, no, that actually makes perfect sense. Like, a random ass rat saves the multiverse. I'm good with it. Okay. Yeah, you see some 1s in the chat. So the more I thought about all of this, because we're starting to realize that Loki is such an important part of this film, right? Loki seems to be maybe the end cap of this film. Loki's somewhat involved in all of this, and he's going to play a big role in whatever's happening at Peggy and Steve's house. He's going to play a big role in what happens at the end of the film. He's probably going to play a big role in creating the multiversal Avengers and all that sort of stuff, okay? And so I have been thinking a lot about this, and I kind of think that this rat was not a rat. Okay? And in fact, I'm going to show you this. This is a video 6 years old. Okay? Walk with me on this. 6 years old. And at the time, many people were trying to explain the rat. Okay? So we're going to watch a little bit of this video together here.
We're talking about Loki. Loki seems way more likely to pull something like this off. Think about it. His motivation fits the scene.
Go on.
The Skrulls would have no reason to go save Ant-Man. Loki has some real stakes in that moment. Without that button press, his life is gone. Boom! No more heir to the throne of Asgard. See, Loki is a character with believability. He is capable of surprises.
Here, I'll turn it down a little.
We could be less conspicuous. Brother.
Disney Plus is giving him his own show, so that might be a place to put this tiny Easter egg. It wouldn't be a huge plot reveal that changes the fabric of the universe. It would simply offer a small nod to the fans watching and a different explanation. Some of the people watching this without seeing Endgame might be confused. If you're one of those people, first, go watch the movie. Second, good on you for powering through spoilers. Not everyone can do that. Anyways, to catch everyone up, Loki survived by using the Tesseract during the failed heist attempt at the Battle of New York. He disappeared to an unknown location, but it means he is alive. Sadly, that detail brings out a complication in this theory. Look, we didn't say it was a perfect explanation. Loki is a player in the MCU thanks to this scene, but it leaves some questions. We're no time experts, but it's possible that Loki still exists in this timeline. It's plausible, but super unlikely. Professor Hulk explains during the first test runs that it would create a rift in a new reality. We see this explained further by the Ancient One during her appearance. In other words, Loki is alive in a different timeline. It would take some serious magic mumbo-jumbo to bring him into the present-day moment. Yeah, the Infinity Stones are powerful, but we're not sure that they're that powerful. Not to mention the fact that Thanos might still be alive in that separate timeline.
I am.
So all of this was before the Loki show. But 6 years ago, after Endgame, there were a lot of people thinking about that rat. And Loki is a shapeshifter, you know? And I tried to find examples. He's been many different animals in different stories throughout the entire history of comics. I couldn't actually find an exact example where he became an actual rat or an actual mouse. But birds, foxes, snakes, all sorts of stuff. Loki's transformed a lot, right? And if you think about it, if Loki is at the end of time and he's trying to figure all of this out, and it's kind of like a battle between He Who Remains and the Kangs and Loki, and it's like trying to figure out this loop or whatever, then maybe it was the case that Loki shapeshifted into that rat and actually let him out, which would be wild. Now, look, this to be completely fair, this is a very wild theory, and we're grasping at straws here. But I would like to point out that this was something people were thinking about even back then, because it just seemed really unlikely that a rat, dead-ass a rat, would actually be the thing that, like, there were so many memes about it. It was like, so this rat just saved the entire fucking timeline? Like, that's really weird, right? Like, it's to this day really weird. And I can't help but think that some of the stuff the Russos are going to do in the next two movies, right, in Doomsday and then in Secret Wars as well, I kind of think they're going to clean up some of their mistakes. This includes Hulk. Hulk's going to become savage again. Now, that looks to be happening a bit in Brand New Day, but it will factor into his story in Doomsday and Secret Wars. We've heard that. Like, Alex has said that, right? So clearly the Russos are cleaning up some of the things that happened in Infinity War and Endgame. And if we're talking about like cleaning stuff up, if we're talking about retcons or, you know, retroactive continuity or whatever that makes things make a little bit more sense, I think this is a pretty big one here, you know, and it could explain, you know, not only what was happening there, but what is truly going on with Kang, with the Kangs, with the multiverse, with God of Stories Loki, with all of that sort of stuff. So I don't know, man. I guess just keep this one in the back of your mind. The main thing to take away is like the Doomsday hype and the Doomsday promotion has already started, which I do find really interesting. We're 16 months out of this film, but it is one of the biggest movies on the, you know, on the horizon and maybe ever, really. And I just kind of find it interesting just in general that the Russos and Marvel is willing to do anything. I didn't expect anything on Saturday. And yet it seems like they definitely want to let the fans know and let the fandom know that this is a super big deal and it's huge. And here's some teases and here's some fun. And Paul Rudd seems to be very, very important. And I think he was wearing the same outfit that he wore in Quantumania, and I think that was intentional. What it means exactly is up for interpretation, but either way, kind of fun. So that's the updates with Doomsday. That was what was shown over the weekend. What do you guys think? What do you think? You think is a rat just a rat? Is a rat maybe just a rat? Or are we cooking him? Because that's not even the craziest one, dude. We're going to get into some shit today, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, what do you think? Kalen says Loki as the rat is perfect retcon. Cook. Oh, I think so too, bro. I think so too. And you know, we'll see. We'll see what they do. Feige loves some Ant-Man whenever a big Avengers event happened. Yeah, Ant-Man does seem to be connected to like all these big movies in a really weird way, huh? How about no? Okay, Jay, damn. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't want to have fun? You'd rather have some executive's kid put some bullshit behind a paywall? Hey, you do you. I'm over here having fun. Okay? On a goddamn Labor Day, no less. Cap, Iron Man, Strange, Ant-Man, Thor, Loki will all have huge roles. Makes a lot of sense. Where in the timeline is Loki season 2 ending? Well, it's hard to say because a lot of that happens outside of time, right? It happens outside of time. Depends on how you think of time, too. Is time always happening? You know, is time always happening? always happening all at once at the same time? What is time? What even is? You know what I mean? LMAO, damn, my bad, bro. No, you're good. You're good. That was pretty mild as a clapback, to be honest. Didn't they say at the beginning of Loki that the Avengers did was supposed to happen anyways? They did. They did. They said what the Avengers did was supposed to happen. Yeah. So, like, I guess part of it you'd have to explain, like, I guess maybe that was Kang. Or maybe that was Kang using a Loki. Maybe it's Loki and Kang hanging out doing some crazy shit. I don't know exactly. But I think the fact that Loki, because here's the other thing, okay? Because this is actually that's actually a really interesting question. Because you say it was supposed to happen. But what about Steve? What about Steve Rogers? Was he supposed to go to the sacred timeline? Was that always supposed to happen? Because it kind of seems like it wasn't always supposed to happen. So then how did it happen? Why was it allowed to happen? And one of the things I'm going to argue with you is this. Loki, God of Stories Loki, was actually involved in Loki season 1. God of Stories Loki has actually been involved the entire time. And in fact, we might have been seeing a bit of a chess game between God of Stories Loki and He Who Remains, or the Kangs, more correctly put. Because I think Peggy Carter in Loki season 1 is pulled out of the timeline, and I think it was Loki. I think Loki will go back in causal time, all the way back to when Loki 1 was happening, which, by the way, he already did in Loki season 2, but I'm talking about doing it again. Now, we're getting a little crazy here, but the point I'm trying to make is this. According to the leaks and the rumors, it feels like this whole time thing is going to get blown up. And so if they're going to explain that Doom is trying to use causal time travel, and he wants to kill Steve before Steve lives with Peggy and therefore, like, changes the timeline or whatever, well, we already know that time slipping is a thing. And we already know that Loki has time slipped, and then he was able to control time slipping and therefore actually do causal time travel. He went back to scenes in Loki season 1. Now, let me ask you a question, though, and this is a big old difference. And this actually, I think, could really open up your mind here. What is the one stipulation to the causal time travel? What's the one stipulation to time slipping? What is the one thing that separates it from TVA time travel? Have you had enough coffee yet? I forgot. Anybody? It's who? No, it's that you actually go into your body at that time. So when Loki time slips in back to Loki season 1, he goes into his body. I mean, yeah, self-touching, 100%, yeah. So look, I'm just saying that there is a different thing going on there, and technically any place that a character was is a place that they can revisit via time slipping. That's the way I understand it. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I mean, I don't know, but I will tell you this, it's fun to think about. Bro, again, like, and maybe it's just me. Like, maybe it's just me because, like, I am a big Marvel fan and I like the MCU a lot. But, like, brother, like, I'm trying to get into, like, the DCU. There's nothing there. Like, I can't get excited and think, like, I could speculate, but it's wild, unabated speculation. There's not enough groundwork laid in the DCU for me to actually theorize, come up with speculation, to have fun theory crafting. I feel a very similar way with Star Wars. I feel like Star Wars has, I mean, when it comes to Ahsoka and Abaddon, the Mother and all that sort of stuff, Abeloth, that kind of stuff is interesting, but the vast majority of Star Wars is like, I can't get into it. Marvel, for better or worse, despite all of the fuck-ups, still has built something that has more internal logic and has set things up that are way more interesting to think about and speculate about. I'm just having fun over here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm legitimately having fun thinking about how this could all go together, and it's actually well thought out. I mean, I know, like, we could sit here and be like, oh, but what if this, that's it? No, it's, especially compared to these other universes, this is a really well thought out canon. This is. And so it's fun. It's interesting to think about this and to speculate about this sort of stuff, man. And I think that ultimately, that's where the juice has been at the entire time. It's actually the secret reason why Phase 4 and 5 didn't fucking work, is because everybody was just focused on the next thing and trying to figure out what the fuck was going to happen next. And a lot of the filler stuff there just made it feel disjointed, and it made you feel like, oh, well, maybe it doesn't matter what I'm calculating here. But now it's all going to come back together, and they will be pulling stuff from the past into the future, and they will be tying things together. Like, that's what they did before. That's what they're going to do again. So it is fun to speculate about that and to think about that and to have fun. You know what I mean? Have you talked about the Peacemaker ending change? Fuck no. That's not true. Didn't Loki go back in time to the TVA where everybody knew He Who Remains? Loki was never there. Wait a minute. Let's think about this. That's not true. Loki go back in time to when the TVA, when everybody knew He Who Remains. When was that part? Or is that a vision that's shown to us? Because I actually don't know. I'd have to watch it again, but there's a difference between a scene that is shown to us in the show via the perspective of Kang and then a scene where Loki is actually there time slipping. I'm pretty confident that every scene that Loki time slipped into, he was there. After the season 1 finale. Wait, just explain it again. Just explain it again. Explain it again. Because I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't necessarily understand what you mean. I think it was during Loki season 2, episode 1. It was the end of season 1. He doesn't time slip until season 2. First episode of TVA, he went back in time in the TVA. Mobius said there was no past TVA. Oh, because he does stand in front of that thing. Yeah, you're right. He does stand in front of that thing and like he wasn't there, right? Yeah. Maybe you're right. I'm going to have to look at that again. We'll have to look at that again. But that's an interesting point, yeah. Maybe he was there, though. Like, technically speaking, he could have actually been there if he's the Loki from the first Prime universe. Like, because remember they talk about his, like, temporal aura? And they talk about how, like, he's been disconnected from time or whatever. And I keep coming back to this idea of, maybe Loki, if that's Loki from the original timeline, then maybe he was there. Have you been watching The Foundation? No, I fell off Foundation. It's cool, though. Maybe I'll revisit it someday, but I kind of fell off. So Loki having centuries of knowledge about physics and stuff, that's going to be interesting to see in Doomsday, don't you think? Yeah, that's another good point. Yeah, because didn't he like learns a bunch of shit, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All that stuff's fun, man. All that stuff's fun. We'll see we'll see how it all shakes out. What about the droid attack on the Lokis? It's imperative we send a... What does he say? What is Kiadi Mundi saying there? Dude needs some lotion for his ballsack head, you know? I finally watched the Thunderbolts, and it was really bad. Why do people keep saying it's great? Well, Travis, people think it's great. I mean, I think it's great. A lot of people think it's great. You're in the minority if you think it's bad. It's not to say that you can't think that, but I think you got to just come to terms with the fact that you're in, like, the 10 percentile. Like, yeah. Most people think it's great. In Infinity War, before Loki died, he told Thor, the sun will shine on us again, brother. That was def a time slip. I think it could be. Yeah. I think there could be something there. 100%. We need a callback to Loki, Tony, and the first Avengers in Doomsday. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. What do you guys think about this rat, though? Like, do we really think the rat was just a rat? I almost can't believe that the rat was just a rat. You know what else? I'll throw one other thing in here. This is a crazy reach. But rats play a lot of roles in fairy tales. There's a lot of, like, rats and mice in fairy tales. And sometimes they will do random stuff. And in a lot of like Chinese folklore, they're thought of as lucky and like chaos manifest and stuff like that, right? And if God of Stories Loki is making all these stories happen, it would just be kind of interesting. And it's very fairy tale that like a rat or a mouse would do something random that would have this huge implication, you know? The rat was a scroll. Some people dead ass thought that 6 years ago. There were people making the videos like that. Yeah. Loki could be a variety of characters in Endgame. Loki is a shapeshifter. Oh my God. Yo, you right. You right, dog. The rat is Gaia. No comment. Butterfly effect. 100%. Yeah. The rat was just a rat. But that's why you retcon it with Loki. Makes sense. Hell yeah. Tell him. Let him know. Josh, can you replay the rat scene from Endgame? This dude's trying to get me copy struck. This dude's like calling Disney right now. Like, I think I can get him. I think I can get him to fucking put it on stream right now. Hell no. The rat is Skaven? Maybe. Gaia should be the lead in Secret Wars, says Justin Lambs 6250. Okay. Yeah. So many cooks in the kitchen today with these theories. Yeah, isn't it fun? Hey, listen, man, if you like this stuff, if you've liked this stuff for a while, don't let them take it away from you. You know, if you're having fun, you're speculating. I mean, what does it matter at the end of the day? Even if we have all these crazy speculative theories and it's all wrong, who cares? I'm having fun coming up with it. You know, I'm having fun talking to you guys about it. You know, I'm having fun being like, hey, remember that rat? What if it wasn't a rat? It's fun. You know, sometimes when you're an adult, you wear stretchy pants in your room. It's for fun. You know what I mean? Rossi bullies me every day. That's probably because I bullied Rossi pretty hard a couple times, you know? It's just projection. It's not his fault. Josh, do you think Loki has technically more knowledge than most of the people because he's been learning everything from Ouroboros for centuries? Yes, he is very, very, very knowledgeable. Yes, Loki knows some shit. 100%, yeah. Nacho! I love that movie, man. If you haven't seen Nacho Libre, man, you're missing out. That's a good one. That's a good one, boys. That's a good one. All right, should we talk a little bit about Star Wars? The Bloodsucker! Welcome to the Nerdvengers. You are a Nerdvenger now. Hell yeah. That's part of the reason he got on the throne. Yeah, maybe. Smarter than Reed from 828? I believe so. Yeah. I believe so. I'm not 100% on that, but I believe so, yeah. Dude, I don't say that lightly. It was seriously on par with Quantum Mania. Brother, that's fine. You can have that opinion. I'm not going to fight you, man. It's fine. Doom is Tony who survived snapping, but was left terribly scarred and ended up losing his daughter. Whoa, bro. That's kind of cool. I've never liked a Tony fucking variant theory thing before. That's kind of cool, though, bro. Manifested destiny. That's kind of cool. Rossi says, you're bullying me as you speak. What? Okay. My bad, bro. Rossi, my bad, man. That's cool, but nah. I mean, come on. It's kind of cool, though, huh? That's kind of fucking cool, dude. The snap goes wrong, loses his daughter, survives, and he's all scarred and shit. Whew. It's kind of nice. So Loki, now being the god of stories, now will be responsible for the past timeline stuff like phase 1 of 4 past movies. I don't understand it. Yeah, it is hard to explain, 100%. But it could be the case that, like, there were two parties at play. There were two forces trying to manipulate this timeline. You know? The way I would describe it is this. We already know there are two forces, by the way, because Sylvie says that the multiverse wants to break free, and it manifests chaos. You know what I mean? So, like, ultimately, I think a lot of this is going to come down to, like, Kang and He Who Remains manipulated the timeline and tried to force his will upon this timeline. But the timeline and the multiverse is pushing back against that. It's like there was this old concept in Star Wars where, like, maybe Plagueis didn't make Anakin, but maybe Plagueis' experimentations and Plagueis' trying to tamper with the Force to create life caused the Force to create Anakin as a rebuttal, right? And this like ties into the Matrix. So there's a concept in the Matrix. The one manifests when the system needs balance. When the system gets out of balance, the one manifests, and it goes all the way to revolution, destroy, reset. And it had happened 5 times before, right? So in a sense, you could think of Loki, God of Stories Loki, as the Neo, the one, you know? The rat is Neo. Yeah, or that, because they're both the same character. Loki was the rat, right? But yes. Yeah. So maybe it's something like that. Is Sylvie a reliable narrator, though? I mean, you could always bring that into question. In that moment, I see zero reason why she would be lying. This is a moment where she's after kind of beaten down and she's just admitting stuff. This is the first time she talks about her origin, I think. So, you know, maybe, but I don't really see how or why she would do that. Is it true Ysildrael Loki created at the end of season 2 connects to the Ysildrael in the multiverse, meaning every universe must have a world tree? Yeah, I think that could be what it is. I think there could be multiple trees. Yeah, there's been some comments from people at Marvel that kind of make it seem like there are multiple trees. Like, because I think Bo DeMeo talked about this, where he had said the way it was described to me is like the tree from Loki and the what if tree is like 616. Your X-Men 97 world is like, just think of it as a whole new tree, right? And so it's like, okay, maybe that's what it is. I really hope Doom doesn't look too much like Stark. Oh, I got bad news for you. I got some bad news for you, brother. I got some bad news for you. I hope. Sorry, but that's just kind of funny to me. What would you say the first act of Doomsday realistically will be? I mean, the first act of Doomsday is very likely Doom entering the picture, explaining shit to the Avengers, meaning the new and old, and the Fantastic Four. And then they're likely going into the X-Men universe in order to bring Monica back to try to stop the incursions. I still think that's probably what you're looking at in the first act. I guess for me, the only question is, because to me, there's 2 parts of Doomsday. There is the presented plan from Doom, and then there's the real plan for Doom. And I guess I'm wondering, like, maybe the first act actually shows you a little bit of the real motivation for Doom. Then we jump into Doom being mischievous, but the audience is a little bit like, oh, but we know he's doing something else, right? Like, that's actually a great question. I don't really understand the structure, and maybe the Russos don't either. Because right now, it seems like what they're doing is, like, they shot it, they're going to assemble it, and they're going to, like, test it, right? And then they're going to shoot a whole bunch more. They're probably shooting 4 more months on this thing. So they're probably asking themselves that question. It's a little similar to Superman. So Superman at one time had a vignetted structure that was going to be days of the week, right? It's going to be like Sunday, Monday, all the way to whatever. And then they abandoned that. And then you can kind of tell, like, it's a little clanky, the Superman plot. And I think part of it is because they remove that structure and they try to pull it into a singular narrative. And it actually works decent enough, right? It works well enough. Maybe that's what they're going to do in Doomsday, right? Because I do think there's just, and I will do a video on this, man. I've been writing a lot of scripts and whatnot. I'll do a big video and I'll break it all down in like a well-edited thing so you guys can kind of see my thoughts on it. But for now, if I had to guess, I would say the beginning of the film is about the new Avengers, meaning Sam's team, Bucky's team, and then the Fantastic Four. And it's going to kind of be about those characters. And then they're going to go try to get the X-Men Johns. And then eventually it's going to turn into TVA Steve Rogers multiversal stuff. Like that's what it is. But we'll see how it all is revealed. Trev, 62 months, Trev? Goddamn, Trev. Says, was the Sacred Universe made up of all the movie universes, X strand each equal universe, Fox, Sony, thus why they're connected in the same tree? I believe so. And I think the rationale for that will be that Kang was trying to keep them separate, but he had to have them all exist. So there was like a stipulation, basically like, you know, fixed moments in time, canon events, or maybe just eternity itself, or maybe it's all the same thing. He could not actually eliminate the X-Men, but what he could do was in the universe where the Avengers happened, he could make the X-Men never have their X gene. But Eternity needs to have the X-Men with their X gene, and that's where the other X-Men universe comes in, where the Avengers are just regular ass motherfuckers. You see what I mean? To me, that's what it is. That's what it is. Ethical Prod with a 5 spot says the idea of us viewers watching Doom two-face our Avengers while they don't know, but maybe Loki would be a dope perspective. No Avengers Fun Live. I'm in agreement with you on that, man. I appreciate the support. I'm in agreement with you. I think that would be a fine structure where basically you're like, yo, this dude is fucking mad, and he knows some crazy shit about the universe, and he knows some shit about Tony Stark. Okay. Then we see him pretend to be Tony Stark, and that could be really unsettling, where he's like, I'm actually a Tony Stark variant, and we're all like, bro, what? Like, we kind of know you're not, but you kind of are. What the fuck? And then it's like he flips on him at some point in the film. I'm down. That could be a good structure. That could be a good structure. I kind of think that could work. I think the Avengers would be suspicious. They saw Tony die in front of them. Yes, of course, but don't they know variants? You know who knows variants? Paul Rudd's Ant-Man. You know who knows variants? Tom Holland's Peter Parker. You know who knows variants? Doctor Strange. Who else knows about variants? That's actually a good question. Who else knows about variants? And also, we know that the Thunderbolts realize that it's an interdimensional ship. They say it says interdimensional craft entering Earth's atmosphere. Wanda knows about him. Yep. Monica knows about him. Yep. Wasp knows about him. The leader knows about him. So there's a lot of people in the 616 right now that actually know about other universes. And the leader told Sam too, so Sam should know a little bit about it. Peter knows. Yep. Banner knows. How does Banner know? Just via time travel shit? I mean, technically every single person that was a part of the time heist knows about variants and branch realities, although it's not explicitly explained. Like, they all know about it. Cap should know about it. Of course, he's gone, but is he? You know? So, I don't know that it'll be that surprising, actually, when they all roll up. You know? We'll see. We shall see. All right, you guys want to talk a little bit about Star Wars? Should we talk a little bit about Star Wars? I thought Cap was in space. What? Well, your theory on Andrew Spider and Doc Strange remembering Avengers F4 as bands, I really liked that theory, and you think you're still right? Yes. Yes, I do. Yeah. Starfighter, save us. Wasn't there a Sildril world tree on Asgard in Thor 1 and 2? Yes, there was, yeah. Who do you think the anchor beam of 616 is, and how do you think that'll play into the story? I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure that that's even going to be a thing anymore, but if it is, it's probably Peter Parker. Nobody wants to talk about Star Wars. Sorry. Yeah, you're right, but guess what? We're going to do it. Take your fucking medicine. Okay, Goyada says, I'm a big fan of Sam Wilson, but still figuring out who would be on his Avengers team. Look like how they did the Thunderbolts. It'll be the people that he has history with. I mean, he was a big part of the Endgame, John. You know, he knows Ant-Man. Yeah, I would say Sam's team's probably going to be like your more traditional OGs, who all probably don't trust Bucky all that much, you know? All right, here we go. Ready? Let's talk some Star Wars. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about some Star Wars news. Recently, all the buzz has kind of been about Starfighter and, you know, Sean Levy, the cinematographer, and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's cool. I mean, I'm kind of excited for Starfighter. I don't know how y'all feel, but I'm kind of excited for it. However, there was some news that came out, must have been late last week. And I didn't talk about it at the time because it's kind of depressing, TBH. But I guess we could talk a little bit about it here. Now, let's get into this. Because this all came out in the wrap, okay? And there's some community notes bullshit here, which, like, I don't know about community notes, man. I think community notes actually isn't that great. But they do mention here that they wrote this in a speculative way, not as a scoop. But essentially, the Wrap has said that the first installment in Simon Kinberg's Star Wars trilogy is said to be the canonical episode 9. Now, there were documents released that actually had mentioned that Charmin Obed-Chinoy's movie was going to be called Episode 9. I don't know if you guys remember this, but that was a thing as well. Okay? There's a lot to suggest that they have wanted to do, or rather, Episode 10. They have wanted to do Episode 10, 11, and 12, even though Kathy like went on this whole thing about how they're not going to do trilogies and shit like that. Out of nowhere, earlier in the year, there was this big scoop that went in the Hollywood trades talking about how Simon Kinberg was writing the next trilogy for Star Wars. And up until now, there was never anybody else in the Hollywood trades that was suggesting that this was Episode 10, but it kind of seems like it will be. Now, I just got to say, I'm not too happy about this. I'm not too happy about this because, first of all, Simon Kinberg, I just don't think is good. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I just don't think Simon Kinberg is good. Directing repertoire, very much not great. Writing repertoire all over the place. Now, to be fair to Simon, he was involved in some Dave Filoni stuff and seemed to work well within that system. I think he helped on some Rebel stuff. Yeah, so there's a little bit of hope there. But Simon Kinberg is just really not... He's not that guy, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, he's just plainly not that guy, okay? And if the actual Star Wars plan is to develop a trilogy that's the next saga, and that trilogy is supposed to see Rey as the Obi-Wan figure here, which that's the rumor, guys. Hang on, I'm going to sneeze. We have to be clear about this. That is the rumor. So the rumor, even for the Charmin Obed-Chinoy movie, you got to remember the first time that thing was being written by Damon Lindelof and his writing partner, that film was going to be 70-year-old Rey, and Rey was supposed to be the Obi-Wan of it. That's what it was. When Jeff Stunner was talking about that scoop back in the day, that's what it was. Rey's the new Obi-Wan. Just like how Luke kind of becomes the Obi-Wan of the new trilogy, which is like, it's laughable because he's like the grumpy, fuck the Jedi, I guess I'll just die Obi-Wan, you know, like terrible Obi-Wan. But you can see the pattern. You can see the thinking there. We take the star of the old trilogy, we make them the new Obi-Wan. We pass the baton to these new characters. I'm only bringing that up because there's actually a lot of smoke suggesting that these plans have been percolating over at Lucasfilm, that this is something they want to do. And so, frankly, like, what I think is going on is the evil empress herself, Kathleen Kennedy, is shoring up a few things before she leaves the room. She may indeed be leaving Lucasfilm as president, maybe even in January, okay? But as I've told you guys, she's going to fart in the room before she leaves, and that stink is going to linger. And I think a Simon Kinberg Star Wars trilogy with Rey as the Obi-Wan character as the next saga is just about the stinkiest fart one could leave in said room before exiting it. So this shit does not inspire a lot of hope. I'm not pumped about this. It's kind of fucking depressing if I'm being honest. However, I'll give you one small caveat. I'll give you one small hope here, okay? And that is that, number one, I guess it's possible they get rid of this shit and they don't do it anymore. I don't think that's what it's going to be. So we have to hope that Mr. Dave Filoni is in this writer's room, and as the creative officer, chief creative officer, that he is heavily involved in making sure that this shit is not yes. I suppose there is a scenario, there is a way for this to work. And maybe Sean Levy's movie is secretly there to rehabilitate the character of Rey and to set her up as this Obi-Wan figure. And maybe the young man in the Rey movie will actually be the new main character, the new protagonist. Talk Warhammer instead. Look at you guys complaining. This is crazy to me. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe like there's some rehabilitation going on. There's some 60 chess plans to make you know, this movie more appealing, the time period more appealing, whatever, right? I just think it's a terrible idea, man. I just think it's a terrible idea. I understand that Kathy probably wants to preserve the assets that were created under her tenure, mainly Rey, and the sequel trilogy characters. I totally understand that from a business perspective, but like it feels a little bit like the Sony thing. I mean, Sony finally gave it up, right? They finally gave it up, and one of their presidents or executives on the way out was like, "The shit's snake bitten. It doesn't even matter if it's good. Everybody's just going to shit on it." He was actually right, and that's what it is. I think with the sequel trilogy stuff with Star Wars, it's snake bitten. It doesn't matter. It literally does not matter how good you make this thing. I think it's going to get moans and groans. I think people will shit talk it the entire way. It's going to be a terrible experience for the fandom, preparing for it, getting ready for it. We'll all just show up, roll our eyes. I think it is an absolutely terrible idea. I suppose there is a scenario in which maybe after the next couple of years, I get a little bit more excited about it. And one other thing that's actually kind of nice about this is, even though I don't think Kinberg's the guy, I don't think he's that guy, there is something to be said for actually having a plan. You know, way back in the day when they were making these Star Wars movies, they approached Michael Arndt, really good writer, and Michael Arndt was working on the script for the first Star Wars movie, and Michael Arndt said to Kathleen Kennedy, to Bob Iger, to everybody, you know, guys, you need years. You need to take years and map this trilogy out properly, and you need to have this thing figured out. You need to write all the movies together, then you can create the movies. They told Michael Arndt, thank you, get fucked, and now Lawrence Kasdan and J.J. Abrams are going to write this thing on the fucking set of the movie. There's all those shots of them with the big red script on the set as Kasdan and JJ are writing this thing on the fly, okay? Anyway, the point is this. At least they are doing what they should have done way back then. And that would be actually letting a writer, albeit I don't think a very good one here, take the time to craft an actual trilogy of stories, to have the scripts and the stories planned out, and then you make the movies. That is better than two guys that have completely different ideas about what Star Wars is having some kind of conversation back and forth in a really whack-ass trilogy, okay? So, I guess if you want to be really, really hopeful, maybe, you know, with the help of some other writers and maybe even Dave, maybe Kinberg can crack this thing and maybe he creates a trilogy that's actually, at the very least, a well-thought-out, completely planned first, second, and third act story, and that would be way better than what happened to the sequels. But on the other hand, man, there is just a lot here that does not inspire hope, and I am not that excited about it. So that's the news. That's my take. Any thoughts, comments, questions? What do you guys think? What do you think of this? You think I'm crazy? Are you excited? What do you think? We haven't seen Rey do anything. The sequels are within such a short time span. To have her like Kenobi is crazy. I agree. Sony still won't share Eddie Brock, but Marvel can use Venom. I mean, I don't know what to tell you on that one. Maybe. I don't even know if that's true. Yeah, Warhammer. Yeah. No, I 100% think it's Warhammer time, man. Like, especially for the Star Wars fans. Star Wars fans, you guys just need to jump ship to Warhammer. Like, dead ass. Like, I can enjoy some Star Wars stuff here and there, and maybe it can turn around. But, like, guys. I think a lot of what you loved about Star Wars, I think a lot of the stuff that you enjoyed about Star Wars is actually still going on in Warhammer. And the difference is it's being cared for by storytellers. You have the Black Library Group, you have Dan Abnett, you just have people that are actual storytellers, and the corporation is allowing the storytellers to drive the thing. Whereas in Star Wars, it is the corporation that drives the thing, and the storytellers try to pick up the pieces where they can and make it make more sense. Like, it's just not the same. It is a world of difference. If Rey's in the Levy movie, is that rehab project setting up episode 9? It could work. Filoni needs to be heavily involved. Yes, technically, that is the only way I think it could work. And yes, if they did that, maybe. We don't have to lie about Warhammer. Oh, well, there's no lies detected, brother. No lies detected. Man, stuff I'm reading in Warhammer books is so much cooler than Star Wars. It is so much cooler. It's so much cooler. Bring John Boyega back and give him a lightsaber and good plot. Less Ray. You know, an acquaintance of mine actually hung out with John Boyega recently. It wasn't theory. And they actually cracked Pokemon packs with John Boyega. Can you fucking believe it? John Boyega seems just like a really chill dude. You know, I wish him well and all that. But I hope we go 1,000 years into the future. So there's no more Finn. Sorry, bud. Black Templars. What's the coolest shit in Star Wars? What's like your favorite stuff in Star Wars? I will tell you the Warhammer equivalent and why it's better. Huh? This Warhammer thing is all right, Yawn. Oh, wait, what was I watching? Hey, you don't say that. Fucking Patty Poop. Patty Poop. The Force. Yes. So the Force is cool, obviously. Why is the Force cool? Because it's space magic, okay? It allows you to move shit with your mind. Some people can blast lightning bolts. You could see when things are coming. You can move super fast. You could dodge things and blast, you know, with your lightsabers and shit like that. All of that is in Warhammer. It's just through the warp. You have psychers, okay? So you have Force users in Star Wars. You've got psychers in Warhammer. And the difference is, in Warhammer, they're all high T monsters that slaughter and kill. And in Star Wars, they're a bunch of pussies. I'm sorry, the Jedi are. They're all just a bunch of pussies. And I used to like the Jedi. You know what I mean? I used to want to be a Jedi. And then I grew the fuck up. And now I want to be jacked to the gills with crazy armor. And yes, I want to shoot lightning out of my fucking arms, and I want it. Oh, let's go. Like, it's so much better. All right, anything else? Darth Nihilus. Darth Nihilus is pretty fucking cool. But then you have, like, the Chaos Gods. You know what I mean? Like, the Chaos Gods, Darth Nihilus. Even Abaddon himself is like, I think, and people in Warhammer community talk shit on Abaddon, but Abaddon is fucking cool, dude. I think he's cooler than Darth Nihilus. Revan's pretty cool. Revan is pretty cool, man. Revan is pretty cool. Maybe one of the coolest things in Star Wars. Who's the Revan equivalent? Is it one of the Primarchs, perhaps? Yeah, I don't know. Revan's pretty cool. Plagueis is pretty cool. Malgus is pretty cool. Guys, have you realized all of the stuff you just mentioned is, like, most of it's not in the Disney stuff? Do you guys realize you're saying all the stuff that's, like, not in the Disney stuff? I think what maybe we're realizing here is that there actually were some cool elements in Star Wars, and Disney was like, nah. You don't got Nurgle in Star Wars. True. Let's be honest, Christopher Nolan filmography is better than George Lucas. I wouldn't disagree with you there. I wouldn't disagree with you there. Dash Rendar. Dash is cool, man. Dash is really cool. I would say Eisenhorn is probably like the Dash equivalent or whatever. You know, Eisenhorn is actually a lot more like Kanan Jarrus. Yeah, man. Yeah. EU supremacy. The EU had some cool stuff for sure. Yeah. All right, I guess there's still some cool stuff in Star Wars. But I'm just telling you, man, Warhammer is really fucking cool. And Warhammer, as a fan, I just feel like I'm being taken care of a lot better than Star Wars. Not interested in guns. I like swords. Who just uses swords in Warhammer and don't have all the armor? Well, there's a bunch of people that use swords. So the thing that's interesting about swords in Warhammer is because there's chaos and you're fighting demons sometimes, swords are actually way more useful than bolters or guns like that. So I would say that. And there's a couple of really interesting without armor. I mean, that's kind of tough. Eisenhorn, but he kind of has some armor. He wears some armor here and there, but he's got a very cool power sword. There are demon swords, right? So obviously Abaddon has a demon sword, but so does one of the Tau. One of the Tau has a demon sword, and it's so cool because he's like not getting corrupted by it because the Tau don't have like really powerful souls or whatever. So that's pretty crazy. My favorite people that use swords in the setting are the blade wizards or the blade champions of the custodes. Now, technically, they wear armor for sure, but they don't use any melee, or rather, shooting. They don't use any range weapons. Strictly power swords, and they have these like master crafted relic versions of power swords, and they are some of the baddest motherfuckers in the setting. You basically teleport your blade champions into the center of the battlefield and send them right at the most powerful enemy thing, and they are like, I mean, they're crazy. There's the Harlequins, of course, the Eldar swords people. Holy shit, they're crazy too. Yeah. Yep. All right, so there we go. Star Wars, that's your update. Warhammer's the future. That's your Star Wars update. Warhammer's the future. Woo! Hell yeah. Lucius is the best swordsman. Lucius is very good. No doubt. No doubt. Sound Marines. W Star Wars update. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, chat. Are you ready to have your little minds blown? Are you ready to hear about the Rogers family? Yes. Yes. Would you like to hear all about the Rogers family? Like when that AI-powered Golden Age ship, Spirit of Eternity, discovered the Stardust and it distinguished how humanity has changed? Yes, that is actually a really cool moment in the lore. Is Space Marine 2 a good entry point into Warhammer? Yeah. Yeah, it's good enough. Yeah, it's good enough. All right, here we go, man. Let's talk about this shit. Okay, so this was going to get really crazy. You're just going to have to try to take my hand, follow me on this one. It's pretty wild. Now, of course, over the past couple of weeks, a lot of stuff going on out there about Peggy and Steve and Doctor Doom and Loki. This big scene that's being shot in Windsor Park in a house that was named Luke Cage's house, which was revealed to be the house of Steve Rogers. Okay, so we've been talking about this, man. We've been on this. Okay, we talked about it last week. Steve Rogers, Peggy Carter, when they went to go hang out and have a life together, it fucked up the whole multiverse. We're not really sure how or why, but it fucked up the whole multiverse. It's a big part of the plot in Doomsday. Doom is looking for people that caused incursions, but mostly Steve Rogers. And we just found out that the 4 actors that were going to be there filming were actually going to be Peggy Carter, Steve Rogers, Robert Downey Jr., and Tom Hiddleston as Loki. Okay, wow. Crazy stuff. Well, it just got even more crazy. And so now we must take a look at Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter having children in Avengers Doomsday. So here we go. Going to look at an article here. The filming for Avengers Doomsday at Windsor Great Park has wrapped. According to local residents near the park, some set images and leaked information reveal scenes featuring Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, Haley Atwell, Peggy Carter, who have children in Avengers Doomsday. Okay, so here's some of the photos here, okay? And it says Avengers Doomsday Kids Play Area, the cars, house prop background, and a house built for Steve and Peggy. Leaked set images show them living in a farmhouse with swings and slides for their kids, along with their own vehicles. Avengers Doomsday, some pic of the cars and the sets for the Windsor shoot. Soon, the real footage will be out anyway. A report from Daniel RPK also confirmed that Tom Hiddleston's Loki filmed a scene at Peggy's house where he had a conversation with him. Rickman also shared that a major scene featuring Evans, Steve Rogers, Atwell, Peggy Carter, and Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom set in the past was filmed at Steve and Peggy's house. Okay, so this is crazy here, okay? But after this came out, right, My Time to Shine came out and said they have children in Doomsday. Now, is she saying that because she knew that and was sitting on it, and now that it's out there, she wants to just like get it out there, say it, and kind of get, you know, the credit or whatever? Or is she just kind of like echoing the scoops here? I'm not sure. That aspect of it, I am not actually sure about. However, this is not the first time that we have heard about this shit, okay? So I'm going to take you all the way back to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. A couple of different things. There were some really interesting rumors. And chat, I want to know if you guys remember this at all, right? Do you remember, chat, the rumors of old man Steve Rogers showing up in Falcon in the Winter Soldier? And in fact, there was a very famous interview with the one dude who was the main, I think he was the main showrunner. Oh, I'm blanking on his name now. Malcolm? Something Malcolm? This dude even had an interview where he was directly asked about this, and he gave a wild fucking answer, which was like, there were some things we wanted to do, but we can't end up doing them all, or something like that. And I just remember like being like, oh my God. And I think I even made probably one of those clickbaity theory videos back in the day where I was like, holy shit, old man Steve Rogers is going to be in this. However, if you really think about it, they talk about Rogers in that show, and they talk about how he might be in the moon. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of mentioning of Steve, especially at the beginning of that show. Remember too, chat, this was a show that got totally remade. So the original version of the show had a pandemic. The LLC that this show shot under was literally called Pandemic Productions. This is all outlined in the incredible book, The Reign of Marvel Studios by Joanna Robinson. And she talked about this, but even before she made that book, we heard about this. We were talking about this. They tore it up. They reshot it, recreated it. It's actually why the show is mostly ass. It's why the show is bullshit, especially the finale, because they ripped it apart, remade it, cut out a whole bunch of significant shit, and then just kind of tried to get it out. And that's why, like, you watch that finale, there's so many weird close-up shots with a blurred gray background, because they just kind of did what Ron Howard did with the fucking Han Solo movie, which that's why Han Solo looks so drab and fucking gray, and like it's all gross. Like every planet is a gray, muddy dust ball. That's because they desaturated everything to try to get it all fit together after they remade this thing. So the same thing happens in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm yapping a little bit, but I really did not like that show. If you're gonna remake it, at least make it good, right? Anyway, there were rumors even back then that old man Steve Rogers was actually going to be in that show. And there were even people, I talked to Scoopers about this. I remember vividly talking to Scoopers about this, and they claimed that James Rogers was going to be in this show. Because I remember talking to somebody and being like, oh, dude, there's all this stuff with old man Cap. Like, dude, what if it's going to be old man Cap? And the guy was like, nope, it's not old man Cap. It's actually going to be his son, James Rogers. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, James Rogers? Now, James Rogers is from an alternate timeline in Marvel Comics, and he is the son of Natasha, the Black Widow, and Steve. Okay, kind of a cool character, actually. You know, not like super prevalent, doesn't do like a whole bunch of stuff, but not a bad character. Okay, so I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. Now, never really gets brought up again, you know. I mean, I think things just kind of go their other way. There were some rumors of Captain America in Multiverse of Madness, but nothing like really concrete or whatever, right? But then there were, and I forget what project this was from, but I remember people talking about a daughter of Steve Rogers. There was also a daughter of Steve Rogers, and Steve has a daughter in Marvel Comics as well. Technically, this actually isn't in Marvel Comics. It's from an animated movie that Kevin Feige produced in 2008, which we're going to talk more about in a second here. This character's name, and I forget her actual name, but her name was Crusade. She went by the name Crusade. Now, this is an alternate version of the events of Secret Wars where they don't leave Battleworld, and Steve and Rogue end up banging, and they have a daughter named Crusade. Now, Crusade is a fucking badass, dude. She has the power of Rogue, Steve, she has the shield, and she wields Mjolnir. Okay? Now, a couple of interesting things about this. Steve Rogers, when he got onto that platform, and he had Mjolnir, and he had the Infinity Stones, and then he had the shield, I was thinking of Crusade even when he did that. Mostly because Mjolnir and the shield together. I was just like, whoa, Mjolnir and the shield together? Like, that feels like Crusade to me. That feels like the daughter of Steve Rogers. Okay. So, now we have these reports, these scoops that Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter are going to have children. Now, the reason this is crazy is her name Sarah. That's really interesting. So, The reason this is crazy is because I kept asking myself, and I'm sure many of you were asking yourself the same question. Why is it such a big deal that Steve went to live with Peggy? Why would this be the worst thing in the world? How could this destroy the multiverse? Why does Doctor Doom need to stop this so fucking badly? Well, the children is the perfect reason why. These two were not supposed to have these children because these children, as a creation of something that has not existed before, is like a new manifestation. It could even be the reason that like Sylvie and Loki were never supposed to be together. Like, remember when that branch timeline like shoots off like crazy towards the red line and everyone's like, I've never seen anything like this. Like, and I know that's a little bit weird because it's technically two Lokis, you know, bumping uglies or whatever, but like technically maybe it was always about these children, these beings that have never existed before. So therefore Kang cannot plan for them. Doom cannot plan for them because they've never existed before. And so if they exist, it is something he cannot plan for, and maybe it changes eternity. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of different ways that this could happen that would be like a really big deal and really, really important. But to say that this is coming out of nowhere is just not true. There is actually a breadcrumb trail here of how this could have happened, how this could have been something that was being planned. And there's one other thing that we got to talk about here, okay? Now, this one's really crazy. There was not one movie in 2008 that Kevin Feige was a producer on, because of course Kevin Feige produced Iron Man 1 in 2008. But that is not the only Marvel movie that Kevin Feige was a producer on that released in 2008. This movie right here, Next Avengers, Heroes of Tomorrow, which by the way was written by Christopher Yost, one of my favorite writers in the entire industry, did a lot of heavy lifting on the original animated Avengers show, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Fucking phenomenal. Christopher Yost is the man. Christopher Yost has worked on the MCU stuff a lot too. He's actually like a little bit of a secret weapon of Feige's throughout the Infinity Saga. Helped on a lot of those films. This movie right here, which I know seems crazy. I know it seems crazy. But this movie in 2008, Kevin Feige was an executive producer on. Now, hard to say how involved he actually was, to my knowledge, and I did look into it. He has not commented on this film. He hasn't really talked about it, etc., etc. But just look at this and look at some of the stuff that they are building right now in the MCU and consider that this movie and these characters and some of the ideas here were potentially always on the table for something that Kevin wanted to do with some big multiversal story once he finally got the Secret Wars. I mean, it's kind of crazy. And here's the other side of this, okay? This Wednesday night, we're going to do a Nerdvengers stream. And what I want to do is I want to do a watch party for this movie. The Next Avengers, Heroes of Tomorrow. I want to watch that movie with you guys this Wednesday night at 7:30, and we will get out the pens and the paper, and we will nerdvenge, and we will speculate, and we will talk about how this could be the blueprint in some ways for what Kevin wants to do with the children of Steve and Peggy, but beyond that, maybe young T'Challa, maybe other young Avengers. Young Avengers has definitely been something that's been on Kevin's mind for a while. And, you know, Iron Man had a daughter, Ant-Man had a daughter, Clint has a daughter. Yeah. So you take it all the way back to this new report here about Peggy and Steve having kids. It's pretty fucking wild, dude. Could be a huge part of this. And if they really want champions to be a thing, I think this is a great way to potentially do that, because if Doom shows up and the kids are actually there, they're probably going to have to get moved, taken somewhere, escape. And that could be kind of cool. So, hey, look, there you have it, guys. And look, by the way, nobody else is really talking about this. It's funny. Like, I thought it was a pretty big deal. You know, people on the set are basically like, yo, Steve and Peggy have kids? what? And then there's a breadcrumb trail. I think it's kind of a big deal. Would love to know what you guys think about this. You think it's too crazy? Am I reaching again? Am I reaching like Reed Richards over here? What do you think, chat? Too crazy? If I wanted, I'd watch Shark Boy. Hey, Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Hey, that's all. Those are underrated movies. Those are some good ass movies, man. I like those movies. You cooking? Thanks, brother. Need to sell these movies to kids to break a billy. Yep. Imagine how pissed off Stark, who lost everything, would be if he found out that the multiverse collapsed because Steve is going back in time. Yep, exactly. Yeah. That'd be a good reason for him to be mad. What about Franklin? I think Franklin would be a great addition to the Champions. You know? If these movies are my childhood, I'm actually excited, man. Wednesday night, we'll watch this movie together. I'm not sure where it's available. Maybe it's on Disney Plus. Maybe we'll have to rent it on Amazon or whatever. But yeah, dude, I think this is it. I think we cracked something here. Steve's children being the part of the plot seems very realistic. Yes, it does. Yeah. I actually think this is maybe the least amount of reaching I've ever done. Maybe not the least, but I don't think it's as far of a reach as some people think it is, man. Like, it is obvious that Kevin's been wanting to do Young Avengers. And at the end of the day, like, I do think it might have been a mistake that, like, dude, you think about Tony and Steve. They really are the heart of this thing, you know? And yet Morgan Stark ain't doing shit. And we don't have any idea what's going on with Steve, and Steve's just taken out of the picture. I think they missed a huge opportunity. Their children would have, I think, been far more accepted as Avengers than a lot of these other ones. So maybe he realized that too. Maybe he's like, oh, damn. Maybe this is what we got to do. You know? And the other thing is they love that meta stuff. Like Feige loves that meta stuff. An animated movie that he produced in 2008, right along with Iron Man. I mean, Iron Man has obviously something to do with what's going on with Doom. Like, don't you think he would take it all the way back? The Truders says this tracks because if Steve knows he's responsible for the multiversal collapse, Steve would sacrifice himself easy, but kids make it complicated. True that. That is a good point. That is a good point, man. I think Champions is a really cool idea. I also think that they start doing that route, maybe targeting younger audience, age bracket 30s plus. Yes. Yes. What time is Josh? I'm in South Africa and would love to join the watch party. So we're in New York time, New York City time, Eastern Standard. So I don't know what that'll be for you, but Wednesday night, you got to be a member though. I'm sorry, I'm putting it behind a paywall. You know, I'm such an a-hole, man, and Papa needs more Warhammer, so we're gonna put it behind a paywall. Unite! Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you, man. Kids make Steve seem less of a simp. True. I mean, Feige's bringing back RDJ Doom, which casting choice in the 2000s F4 looks like he's going all the way back to the beginning. Yeah, and also, like, look, I've said this before, but, like, you have to understand that the meta contextual thing that he likes to do is so obvious. It's like, it's a big part of how he views all this sort of stuff. And even the idea that an evil force outside of time prevented all of these characters from being in the same universe is like, I mean, he's saying like that there's the corporate control messed it all up. It's like a meta commentary on how by separating these characters, they created a really bad reality, you know? Doom is Steve's kid from the future. Now that's a reach. You don't like it? That's okay. You don't got to like it. I'm just proud of my boy Cap for clapping cheeks with Peggy, Black Widow, and Rogue. Epic list. It's true. The Riz Master Steve. Makes sense if their son ends up becoming the Beyonder and Doom is trying to take his power like the OG Secret Wars. What? Oh my God, that would be crazy. Yeah. So I think there's some cool stuff here, man. Isn't it crazy how we keep coming up with these theories? Don't act like you're not impressed. Don't act like you're not impressed. How would they handle Steve and Peggy's kids after Secret Wars if Evans won't play Steve after Secret Wars? Well, there's a lot we don't know about what's going to be happening after Secret Wars, frankly. Gen X Nerd 37, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now. What if their kids are actually mutants? What? That'd be crazy. I guess we got to call him Clapton America now. Bow chicka bow wow. Christopher Yost wrote the episode of X-Men Evolution that debuted X-23. He's a co-creator of that character. Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, Christopher Yost is like, he's one of these, like, he kind of flies under the radar. Like, I don't think he gets brought up a lot with the other prestige comic book names, but he has this crazy good career of working with Hollywood. He's been an incredible, like, he's been able to bridge the gap from, like, the comic world to the Hollywood world. He did a bunch of work on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a bunch of work on a lot of these little shows. Like, he's an advisor on a lot of things. I think Yost is one of those guys. He's a lot like Joss Whedon in the sense, not in the bad sense, in the sense that he understands the adaptation. It's one thing to be able to write great comics, and I think, like, for instance, Jeff Johns is obviously like a really great comic book writer, but one of the things that Johns, to me, never was really able to do, although I've heard the Stargirl show is a really good example, but I've never seen Jeff Johns live action shit where I was like, oh, this guy really gets how to adapt it. This guy really understands how to, what is the film requirements of this. Whereas Yost has always been really good at that. Gunn's really good at it. Couple of other there's some comic heads that are good at it. Like Snyder's really good at it, but it's a different skill. You know what I mean? It's a different skill. Shine says big Marvel scoop. Well, she should do a big log off and detox. You know what I mean? Both Yost and Whedon were writing the X-Men comics in 2004. Wow, isn't that crazy? That's actually interesting, yeah. Spider-Man's internal struggle with Doom looking like Stark is going to be interesting. I think so, too. I think there's going to be some juice there, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think Shine needs a dopamine reset, a vacation. You know, I thought about, like, asking the scoopers, like, what would it take for you guys to retire? Like, what is there a monetary amount? What if we did a GoFundMe to, like, make the scoopers retire? Like, what do you guys need to just, like, retire? You know what I mean? They're going to focus on Steve's kids after Secret Wars as characters. That could mean that Steve gets recast earlier than we thought he would. Yeah, it's possible. Certainly. There's some juice there, man. Is that a 40K or a Helldiver shirt? This is 40K. This is a Warhammer shirt. Helldivers is cool, though. I hope that movie's good. Sony's making a Helldivers movie. That's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Spider end credits is Peter seeing Doom and going, Mr. Stark? Yeah, maybe. Ultimates Universe post reboot. That could be cool. I actually wouldn't hate that. I would not hate that, man. That would be cool. That'd be real chill, man. Yeah, I'm excited. We're going to watch that movie Wednesday. We're going to come up with all kinds of cool ideas. It's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun. My mind went to Starship Trooper vibes for Helldivers movie. 100%. Yeah, they're very similar in vibe, yeah. Paramount got the rights to make a Call of Duty movie. Yeah, but, like, isn't Call of Duty kind of washed? I feel like Call of Duty is, like, not that brand anymore. I think Call of Duty's kind of fucking washed, to be honest. And I think, like, getting the Call of Duty rights is, like, a boomer thing. Yeah, dude, like, I don't think that's a good move, honestly. Paramount's been making a lot of interesting moves. That doesn't feel like one of them. Like, that feels stupid. But whatever, maybe they can make it good. We'll see. Depends on the talent, but, like, the IP doesn't excite me at all. And that's why you get the IP, right? Like, so it's like, you fucked up, basically. It's never been about the story with COD. I don't know. I think Modern Warfare 2 had a pretty good story. With the dude that portrays you and all that. Who the fuck asked for a COD movie? Yeah, I know, right? Hey, is Kendall in here? Kendall! Kendall! So I got my third Warhammer army I've started. And it is the Tau. Yep. I got a Tau army. So my buddy was collecting Tau, but he just doesn't really play. He's not really into the game anymore. So I bought his like army off of him, kind of like on the cheap. So now I have a Tau army. And the rumor is they're going to do a Tau themed Christmas box for Warhammer this Christmas. And it's going to be Farsight themed. And that's literally fucking perfect for me because I don't have a Farsight. And I want to build Farsight. Like, that's the guy that has the demon sword. I want to build that. Isn't Tau, like, cheating? No. No. I mean, they play very different than most armies. They're mostly shooty, but it's not cheating. Red Letter Media's What Happened to Star Wars is Creative People Want Something to Watch Over the Holiday. It's about an hour long, old head take. Oh, no, I really like it. Yeah, I watched that the day it dropped. That guy, I think it's Jay, that makes the character of Mr. Plinkett incredible. And his old reviews of the prequels are some of the best Star Wars videos on the internet. So yeah, I watched that shit. I thought it was great. Is Sam going to have to give the shield back? LOL. No, I doubt it. We'll see though. Warhammer question. What is some of your favorite Blood Angels lore? So I don't read a lot of Blood Angel stuff, but one of the things that I thought was so cool that just popped up in like a video I was watching or something is, so the different successor chapters of the Blood Angels, they deal with the Red Thirst in different ways. One of them, and I forget which chapter it is, but they literally have like a fancy ball once a year, and they invite all these nobles and elites to this ball, and then they slaughter them and feast on drink their blood. And so basically like their way to deal with the Red Thirst is for basically the entire year, they keep it at bay and they don't give in. And then one night a year, they slaughter a whole bunch of nobles and like fucking drink their blood and probably like keep a bunch of it or whatever. So that's kind of like a cool Blood Angels lore. The devastation of Baal is really interesting because they call all the successor chapters to try to defend that world. The Blood Angels have actually teamed up with the Necrons before, which is kind of wild. And I almost want to say they teamed up with some Chaos before against Tyranids, which is kind of wild. So the Blood Angels are cool, man. They have some cool lore for sure. But I don't know a ton about them. I've only read like a little bit of Blood Angel stuff. So we'll branch out eventually and we'll get there. They got to have biotech that makes synthetic blood. Some of them, I think, do that. Yeah, they all deal with it in a different way. Yeah. You said someone was missing, like the Justin Baldini promotion. Sometimes the one missing was being pushed out. I'm not sure what you mean by that, brother. Sam keeps the OG shield and gives Steve the hollow shield. Maybe. Yeah. Dude, Blood Angels are so cool. I really like the Blood Angels. But, again, I mean, that's kind of what's crazy about Warhammer is, like, you can get into it, and you can actually be into Warhammer for years, but the lore has such depth that almost nobody has a great grasp on like every part of it. There's so much to it that like every chapter has like, you could do a dissertation on every single chapter, and then every race and species has like their different thing going on. It's crazy. How does Dante deal with the thirst? That's a good question. I mean, I would imagine he occasionally partakes, although I'm not 100% sure. But Dante's whole thing is like he just can't die. So I don't know. Like, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know how he deals with it, actually. Dante's a cool character, though. Salamanders are interesting. The salamanders are quite cool, being the ones that actually like really care about humanity and all that. Their planet is awesome, dude. Like, they have a great home world. Their Primarch is dope. So yeah, they're cool. Since Kang was a descendant of Richards, so that's why Doom, he wants to take Franklin to stop Kang from existing. That whole Kang and Reed connection thing is so overplayed in comics. It comes up like twice. And they like Kang himself like retcons it. Nobody knows. I think it's something that a lot of people latched onto because Nathaniel Richards, Reed Richards, and there are a couple panels. Like, I understand there's a few conversations, but guys, like, there's a moment where Doom and Kang are talking, and they actually don't know if they can kill each other because they think they might be the same person. Like, comics gets weird, bro. You know? So, like, this idea that, like, oh, dude, it's super well established that Richards and Kang are the same. No, it's not. So with what I researched into Warhammer, would you say it has the potential to be bigger than Star Wars? Yes, of course. Yeah. Do you think Feige will still cast Wanda, Steve, Tony, Natasha all immediately after Secret Wars or 10 years down the line? No, a lot of them are probably not going to be recast. I think they're going to try to hold on to as many OGs as possible. Yeah, we'll see. Because, like, Elizabeth Olsen is going to be Scarlet Witch for a while, bro. Like, for a while. So. All right, guys. Well, look, I'm going to probably get out of here soon. Labor Day. You know, I got a little bit more labor to do, and then I'm going to chill. Maybe paint some Warhammer, hang out. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And, you know, clips will drop later. I'm going to cook some videos. I want to do some more extensive put-together versions of some of the theories we've been talking about here so that you can kind of, you know, get a whole, like, edited thing, you know, something you can easily pass to other people, too, so that they could get it. And maybe I explain it a little bit better when I sit down and write it all out as opposed to these videos here. But so yeah, look out for those videos coming. I'm cooking a lot of cool stuff. Guys, I'll be honest with you, probably no stream tomorrow. I'm kind of feeling like Tuesdays is a good day for me to take off during the week so that I can, like, build a bunch of videos and have time to do that. So no stream tomorrow, double dose on Wednesday, and then probably streams Thursday and Friday as well. But there's a lot of other stuff I'm trying to get sorted out too. So appreciate you. Can you talk about the Swedish rock band, The Hives? Nah. Is Steve going back to create 828? Maybe. Could be something there. Does that mean we get Friday streams again? Yeah, probably. I mean, I like streaming on Fridays. Seems like there's always... it used to be that, like, Fridays were dead for news, but now it feels like there's a lot of stuff that pops off on Thursday. You know, so... Sorry, Mike. Oh my God, Kaylin and Braid, you guys are just going at it like so hardcore, man. That's what happens, I guess, when you bet on the box office, you know. All right, everybody. Hey, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, somebody unban Tom, too. It's fine. Whatever. He can come back. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Leave. Oh man, another happy landing on a Monday. Oh yeah, man. And we keep cooking over. We stay cooking over here. I should get a goddamn chef's hat. To be honest with you, I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to get a chef's hat. And I think on certain maybe streams or certain videos when we're really cooking, Chef Papa Josh is going to come out 100%. I think it has to happen. I mean, who else is cooking like this? There ain't nobody cooking like this. You know what I mean? There ain't nobody cooking like this. Nobody. Dead ass. Because everybody left after phase 4 and 5. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Much love today, man. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy yourselves out there. If you're off today or whatever, man, take some time to yourself. Rest. Let the brain rest. Let the body rest. Appreciate you. Okay, everybody. Gonna get out of here. Hey, do me a favor. Actually, do me too. Open up your third eye and wash out your stinky butt. I'm serious. If any mods are in here and you can get Tom back in the Discord, just do it. Because I won't remember. And maybe I'll not do it like right when I'm supposed to. You do it. Do it.